Hello and welcome back to Shadowrun Returns, the Dead Man's Switch. We just killed the Emerald City Ripper in a way that was kind of not that satisfying and a little weird. But he gave us sort of a hint that seems very sort of forced in at the last minute to continue things. I don't know. It's kind of poor writing. There's something interesting here, but sort of delivered in a pretty iffy way. The fact that there's one green pod over there is definitely suspicious. And we've got an altar here and a thing to look at, so I guess we'll do that. Holmes's workbench falls somewhere between coroner's slab and medieval torture device. Alright, guys, we get it. It's like, I sort of assumed that, and I can see the image. It is decorated in the many colors of death and littered with the instruments of that trade. To one side there is a leather-bound journal stuffed with uneven pages. To another is a pock sack, its small screen still glowing. Beneath the bench is a rolled sheaf of papers, hold closed with a tied length of surgical tubing. Investigate the workspace. The bench is clearly played host to numerous bodies over its lifetime and includes limb restraints as well as skeletal traction mechanisms. Making me pretty uncomfortable. At this table, Holmes likely Yeah, I of course he did. That's like, how hard do you have to hammer it home? At this table, Holmes likely dismembered bodies, or quite possibly put them back together. The tackiness of the blood suggests it has been used relatively recently. Alright, sure, but like, a little subtlety, come on. Skim the journal. Leafing through the pages, you find few intelligible entries. Holmes may not have been a real doctor, but his handwriting certainly fits the stereotype. Stuffed in the last few pages is a copy of a disinterment order from a local cemetery, with the grave's occupant marked as Melinda Watts. Access the pocket secretary. Holmes is still logged in, granting you access to his currently loaded files. Prominent among them is a hospital report from a donor program. It lists the organs beside the name and names and vital statistics of the recipients. Your eye catches Sam Watts' name beside the entry for liver. Also on the list are the Ripper's other known victims, along with several others who may have shared in the same fate. There's also a large sum of Nuyen, which can easily be transferred to your account. Examine the rolled sheet of paper. Unfurling the large sheet of paper, you discover a diagram of the human female form, rendered to an impressive level of detail. Why? You need blueprints for a person? Dude, what kind of... It appears to be the blueprint for making Holmes's very own monster. Yeah, I mean, I don't think... The human female form rendered to an impressive level of detail, I don't know that qualifies as his very own monster, given Pitzel, who we just saw, who's definitely more under that category. All right, so from the sounds of it, he was repoing donated organs to put someone back together, possibly Melinda Watts, who I believe is Sam's mother? Investigate objective complete. Investigate Holmes's motives. I don't know that that's that cut and dry, but if you say so. And nothing over here, huh? Really? Seems like this would be an ample opportunity. So here's the problem, especially when you're doing a story-driven RPG with, you know, that isn't a fully 3D rendered thing or isn't incredibly high detail, is when you think... I think this is the pitfall they fell into, although I may be being too generous as well. It can obviously everybody's aware of the idea of show don't tell. You want to show how things are, not tell the player or viewer or experiencer what they should be seeing. That's not, it's not good storytelling for a variety of reasons. The problem is when you are trying to verbally articulate something you're already sort of showing, but not fully, stuff like that, describing his workbench is like, well, if you detailed the art a little more and let me zoom in further, I could see a little better. And you would only have to give like a one sentence thing of like, Holmes's desk is grotesque. And then like I could sort of see it and glean it myself. What you end up doing in a case like this is you think you are assisting in the showing and you accidentally fall into telling. Because you've got all this like, oh, he probably dissected people here. Like, yeah, no shit. I got that much. You don't really have to tell me. But yeah, I understand the pitfall. It just also seems easy to avoid. Let's get out of here. Oh, well, those things are spooky. I'm nervous. What's this gonna be about? Oh no, these are the... His chipsot is still fresh, the open wound pink and wet and lurid. Okay, again, a little bit like overly grotesque. His voice drips innuendo, but his eyes say nobody's home. Well, hello there. Did you come to play? No thanks. I just want to know what's going on. I was really afraid there for a second that it was going to be like, hey, you can have sex with it if you want. Female Bumraku, forget him. I'll tell you anything you want. I'll do anything you want. I'll be your little playmate. By her name. She's assembled in a standard config. Face of a schoolgirl, body of a stripper. You'd need some thick beer goggles to miss the work she's had done. Jesus Christ. Again, with what I was just saying, you don't have to hammer it home this hard. Like, you could at least make an attempt at subtlety. I mean, standard config, face of a girl, schoolgirl, body of a stripper. Like, that... Holy shit. So this gets into something else. I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about it because it's something that bothers me a lot. And you see not that infrequently. And I think once you see it, if you're not already keyed in on it, you will. This is something that's much more common in cinema as a problem, where the issue essentially is that the cinematic gaze does not match the intended storytelling. Or at least both may be intentional, but they are in conflict with one another in a way that is grotesque. So that phrasing, face of a schoolgirl, body of a stripper, is specifically sexualized to the point that it's somewhat intended to titillate. Because if all you cared about articulating was that she was formed to be sexual, which is clearly has been very clear already because, you know, they basically said they're selling sex bots, like lobotomized humans as sex objects, which is horrifying on its own. If you wanted to articulate that they're meant to be attractive, you could just say that like she's formed stereotypically attractively, and then like frame that in the context of what her job is intended to be, or the greater story that's trying to be told here, which is that like these former people have been converted into essentially it's this juxtaposition between the grotesque of the bodily mutilation and the absence of humanity, and like the reality of what's being seen, right? But when you say the phrase, and I'm going to keep saying it because it makes me deeply uncomfortable, and I think that is kind of why it bears repeating. Face of a schoolgirl, body of a stripper is exactly the kind of phrasing that would be used in a non-grotesque setting. This comes up in cinema a lot more when you have like, especially in like lowbrow, well, it happens more often than you would think in cinema in general, where especially female characters are in situations in which they are in peril, in danger, in some sort of distress, scenarios which are explicitly non-sexual and not meant to be sexually appealing. And yet the camera's gaze, and that's both literal and philosophical, if you're familiar with that sort of like 19th century, 20th century philosophical bent, the idea of the gaze is a sexual one, where the camera says, look at her ass, and what's on screen says, no, she's in danger. And that is deeply concerning for a vast variety of reasons. And it's just awful. And I feel the need to point it out here, not because this is the only case of it, it's all over the place, but that's exactly why, is when you have a really egregious case of it like this, it bears unpacking explicitly so that people who may not key in on it can be aware of it in other things. All right. I think I've gotten that out of me a little bit. I'm still deeply unsettled by this, but we'll keep going. All right, let's get out of here. I guess we're just going to leave them here, which is a problem of its own. Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, there was a thing and it didn't pop up because this game sucks and the UI doesn't tell you until it's like already too late. Persona Fix chip wiper. Oh, can I help them? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, are you going to tell me what the outcome is? Because I also don't want to just like leave them blank. Oh, are you going to make me do something horrible when I think I'm doing something good? Please don't. I'm praying that this game... Erase Holmes's programming. His eyes focus as his hand raises slowly to touch his head wound. The fingers come away wet and sticky. Panic twitches at the corners of his mouth as he surveys the room. First you, then the girl, then down to his own body, which is no longer his. Sweet Jesus, what did he do? What am I? He begins weeping, his body racked in great, inconsolable, heaving sobs. This is really bad, guys. Like, yes, realistically, if you came to and realized that somebody had surgically dismembered you and created you... Oh my god. But you can't just leave it there. Because now we're just going to walk away. Like, some of it is intentionally supposed to be troubling, but there's ways to do that don't make you feel complicit. Like, we're not even going to take them with us, or... And I only did it to him, not to her. Cool. Yeah, this is really, really a big problem. Wow. don't know what to do with this. This was an opportunity to actually delve into something, and they just didn't. And it's not the worst possible way to do it, but it's pretty bad. As you approach the exit, you realize that Shannon lingers quite a few steps behind. Looking back, that's interesting because we didn't have to bring her with us, I don't think. Looking back, you see that she is half turned, looking pensively towards the horror show of Holmes's lab. Finally feeling your eyes on her, she faces you and raises her head in a proud, almost defiant manner. We have done much good here tonight. We have removed 2 vile creatures from this world, and so ended a growing shadow they cast upon the city. Our paths crossed and joined, but we had this thing together, and we did this thing together. But here our paths must divide. You saw what I saw. This isn't over yet. No, it won't be over for some time to come. A distant cry of pain echoes down from somewhere above, and the young shaman pauses to listen to the tortured sound. There's still more work to be done for both of us, but what must be done differs for each of us. You want to retry that set of sentences, or? I came here to find justice for my brother, and that has been done. His spirit can now find rest. But there are other victims of the Ripper, both alive and dead, who still struggle to be at peace. Many of them are here in this place, filling the halls with their torment. I cannot leave them behind. But the Spirit has something else in store for you, a different path. You must finish what you've begun. You must confront the first evil that fostered the one we have just ended. You must confront the first evil that fostered the one we have just ended. Okay, but listen, we were just in that room and looking at stuff, and there wasn't anything to look at. So unless you're going to tell me that I somehow missed a prompt for that altar or something, I don't know what to tell you. Hold on a second. I'm just going to... Since this game's a fucking bug fest, I'm just double checking that I didn't miss something. Nope. There's just nothing to interact with, apparently. Boy, this is just miss after miss. I suppose I can respect that. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Because of you, my brother's killer has met swift justice, and justice of the only sort such a man as Holmes deserved, death. I will now set to the task of healing those he has left behind. For every madman we face here tonight, there are a dozen innocent souls crying out in need. The spirits of the departed will also need help in passing, or else I fear they may become like those we met in the hangar. They all deserve my help. And what about Lone Star? They can't be far behind. When they enter that room back there, they will have no thoughts other than thoughts of promotion. This really needs proofreading. Like, it's not technically wrong. It's just thoughts other than thoughts. Like, it's very stilted. And I don't think it's intentional. With the Ripper in hand, my brother will be forgotten, along with all the other victims. But so too will I. They will not be a problem. Whether that's true or not, Shannon's confidence and very presence seem capable of making it true. Good luck to you, Alice. I hope that you can find the same justice for your friend that I found for my brother. I appreciate that, and good luck to you. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so, game. Loose ends. The ride back to the Seamstresses Union is quiet compared to the pandemonium left behind at Mercy Mental Hospital. Lone Star Squad cars pass you on the road, sirens blaring, no doubt in response to the aftermath of your showdown with the late Dr. Henry Holmes. The Emerald City Ripper. That's not a sentence. And that's not a comma. You could have put a comma and then it sort of would have worked, but it still would be weird. The man who violently repressed the internal... That's not a sentence either. The man who violently repossessed the internal organs of Sam and Jessica's mother, Melinda Watts. That is a hanging clause. Another period that doesn't belong there. And although the killer is dead and his grip on the city is broken, it's clear he wasn't working alone. There are loose ends aching to be tied. The taxi turns onto Redmond Way, cruising past now familiar landmarks until the Seamstresses Union, in all its decadent, seedy glory, materializes between swipes of the its. Come on, guys! Materializes between swipes of its overworked windshield wipers. I don't think the taxi is the subject of the sentence either. The Seamstresses Union there's... Come on. Really trying my luck here, or trying my patience here, game. Time to evaluate your next move. Okay. Plan your next move. Find someone to give them Mercy mental data. There she is. Johnny Clean is talking with Cherry Bomb and Mrs. Kubota when you walk up. We were just talking about you, Alice. And the Emerald City Ripper. Ironic that you tracked a serial killer to a mental hospital. How do you know that? Well, I guess I did tell Johnny. Mrs. Kubota. Johnny Clean told us where you were going, oh my. We have been waiting for you to return. Yeah, I was going to say, I sort of wish I had the I can't do that now, can I? Nope. Yeah. You seem pretty interested. Of course we're interested. We each have our reasons for wanting the killer found. Sam was a regular here, and his loss has been felt, regardless of his shortcomings. The whole sprawl has been shaken by these killings as well, the randomness of them. No one knows if they will be next, or what the killer might take from them. I admit that the killings have hampered business as well. I'm sorry, but it's true. It does not help that Sam's body was found down the street from here. Even my regular customers have been loath to venture out with a killer on the loose. Now tell us, Omai, did you find the person responsible for the Ripper murders? Not exactly. I got the bastard who wielded the scalpel, but whoever's pulling the strings is still out there. Someone's pulling the strings of a serial killer? It sounds more complicated than I suspected. This is really just two different ways of phrasing the same thing, it seems like. It is. The head of the asylum was killing specific people to harvest specific body parts. All of the transplanted organs came from the same donor, Melinda Watts, Sam's mother. It looked like he was putting her back together. The three are silent as the news sinks in. So Sam had an organ transplanted from his mother, and then the Ripper killed Sam and all those other people just to reassemble Sam's mother? Grisly, isn't it? I sense a cause and effect in this. Coyote and Jake Armitage just left here to attend Sam's funeral. I am told that there will be a reinterment ceremony for his mother as well. Yeah, I'm starting to suspect his sister's involvement, either directly or indirectly, in a pretty substantial way. His sister invited me to the funeral and the reinterment when I met her here. I think his sister Jessica had something to do with it. All right, you're leading me by the nose a little here, game. Hang on, I saw Sam's sister when she was here the other day. She was as corp as they come. Comma. Put a comma. Find your commas. Find your editing. Find your punctuation. She was as corp as they come, but I can't imagine a lady like that behind a series of murders. There's got to be something else going on. It is clear that you must go to the funeral and talk with Jessica Watts, Alice. And I need to pay my respects to Sam. Of course. Mrs. Kubota raises her hand and the conversation stops. I mean, it wasn't really ongoing. She was the last person who talked. Wait, before you go, there is one thing you did not tell us. Where is the Emerald City Ripper now? Well, he isn't in heaven. I'm sure of that. She nods in satisfaction. Hi, that is good. All right, well, what a saga. I'm gonna call the episode here. And when we come back, I'm gonna take a break. I can't deal with more of this game today. But if I've got my episode counts right, this is gonna be a Monday release, which means you'll all be anticipating for Thursday. So yeah, can't do any more of this today, but we'll explore more on the next episode. See you guys then.